Adding and subtracting polynomials. Alright, our first concept, we're going to be looking at adding and subtracting monomials. And when we're doing this, this is going to be the same as when we are adding and subtracting amounts with different variables. Okay, terms with different variables. So I've got an x, I've got a y, and I've got constants. Alright? And what I do with these is I look for my like. I include the sign to the left, and I look for my like terms. I've got my y's, I've got my constants, and I've got my x's. Okay? And then you can go through, you can either rewrite them so that they are next to each other, or especially when I do this with different colors, I'll probably skip that step and I'll just say, okay, 3x minus x would be 2x. 15 minus 20 would be negative 5. And then y minus 3y would be negative 2y. And I have simplified that, that expression. Okay? When we're looking at that with a monomial, it's going to be the same thing, except any different exponent is basically going to be a different variable, right? I can't add my 2x squared to my 3x. Those have to stay separate. All right. So I'm going to come through. I've got my x squareds. I've got my x's. And then I've got my constant. Okay, and I'll go through, and generally, if it's a complicated one, I will. So, I guess I should have that. My first step was identifying those like terms, which I did. Rewriting the problem so my terms are together is going to be helpful. So I've got 2x squared minus x squared plus 3x plus x minus 12, and then add and subtract to simplify. 2x squared minus x squared is going to be x squared plus 3x plus 1x is 4x minus 12. Okay, and I've got my polynomial simplified. Right, I've added or subtracted my monomials together. All right. Again, remember carrying that sign with the left, the sign to the left of whichever term you're working on is important. If you drop that negative sign, you will get the wrong answer. Okay, let's look at another one. Alright, so 4xy squared minus 2xy plus 5xy minus xy squared plus 2x squared. Okay, I'm actually going to start with this one. I recognize that this is alone, so I'm just going to take this out to the front and leave it there. And now I've got my 4xy squared minus xy squared, so that's a plus 4xy squared minus xy squared, and then I've got plus 5xy minus 2xy. Combine like terms. 4xy squared minus xy squared is going to be 3xy squared. I've still got my 2x squared. And then I've got 5xy minus 2xy, or plus 3xy. Okay? And again, even though these look pretty similar, alright, I cannot combine them. Okay? And then my last step is to make sure this is in proper standard form. Alright, so I've got 3xy squared, which is a third degree. So that's going to be first 3xy squared. And then I've got 2x squared, or 3xy. I'm going to put 3xy first, even though they're the same degree, right? This is a 2-degree polynomial, or 2-degree monomial. This is a 2-degree monomial. But I like to put it first so that I have all my combination, right? I've got my x and my y coming before my just one single variable. Okay? And we'll look at one last one. So I've got 3a minus 2b squared plus 12ab squared minus 2a plus 7ab squared plus 5b squared. Okay? So I'm going to start with my ab squareds. I'm going to have them out front. So I've got 12ab squared plus 7ab squared. And now I'll go to my b squareds minus 2b squared plus 5b squared plus 3a minus 2a. And probably I should have written my plus 5b squared first, because it's easier to think about it as a positive number, and then you're taking away a number from that. But it doesn't really matter. It won't change the result. So 12ab squared plus 7ab squared is going to be 19ab squared. 5b squared minus 2b squared is going to be 3b squared. And then 3a minus 2a is just going to be a. Okay? And that's the amount of steps I would expect. You have your problem written out, you rewrite it in the correct order,